Welcome to Naked Spirituality, a video blog series of Sacred Attention to Therapy and the Center for Human Awakening. My name is Rob Meager. For more information about Sacred Attention to Therapy, the Center for Human Awakening, and our video blog series, please visit our website at www.centerforhumanawakening.com. And center is spelled C-E-N-T-E-R. These video blogs support one of the Center's core activities, which is collaboration and partnership with individuals, communities, and healing centers practicing personal growth and spiritual development. And our guest today is Kim McCabe, and we'll be talking with Kim about her healing work through Rights for Girls. And I'll now bring Kim on screen. I'll welcome you, Kim. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
Could we begin, Kim, in talking about this healing work you do through Rights for Girls? Can you tell us about Rights for Girls? What and who are you, or who is this organization called Rights for Girls?
Well, Rights for Girls is a group of women, a growing group of women, as we train more and more women to facilitate this work, who support girls, preteen girls, as they approach puberty and then as they travel through their teens. So it's a vulnerable time. It's a time when girls perhaps need someone more than just their mother. They may be close to their mother, have a really great relationship with their mother, but it's a time when maybe it's really useful to have other women there supporting them, guiding them, to be doing that in a group of girls. So what we do is initially we start working with them when they're about 10, 11, 12 years old. And they meet together as a small group with a Rights for Girls facilitator. And they meet together monthly for a year. So they get a feel of what monthly feels like. And in that year, we cover all sorts of things from the physical changes that will be coming their way with puberty and how to manage having a monthly cycle, practical things like spots and greasy hair, but then we also talk about things like, what are your dreams? What's it important for you to hold on to at this time when school is making more and more demands on you, social media and the cultural influences around you are perhaps putting pressure on you to be a certain way or have certain aspirations. What actually, we help each girl to tune into what does she really want for herself? What are her natural talents? What is she good at? So that through that time when school can take a lot of the focus, they're also holding on to what they hope for in their futures. And then of course we do things like we encourage the girls to find mentors, to find aunties who can support them through this time. And we look at creating a rite of passage so that at some point when they feel they're ready, along with their mother and whoever else they want to be involved, they can create something that marks and acknowledges this growing up stage that they're in. Because what we find is when the adults don't do this, then children will do it for themselves. We see teenagers dressing in a particular way, behaving and acting in ways that they think are adults, either with drinking, drugs, sexual activity, because they're trying to prove to us that they're growing up. So there are other ways that we can do that, and a rite of passage is a really powerful way. It's a way that we used to do it in times gone by, and actually in some cultures it still exists, but it's one of the rites that has been lost in our culture.
Kim, are there specific products or services that are offered through Rights for Girls?
Yes. The most important one is the girls journeying together. And this is groups gathering together, small groups of girls, and supporting them on their own personal journey through adolescence. I also offer online support to any mother anywhere in the world who would like to co-create a rite of passage for their daughter. I can do that in 1 or 2 sessions, although the process itself would take many months, because as in any rite of passage, it's not just the ceremony that you carry out at the end. That's in the sense that's like the cherry on the top of the cake. Actually, the baking of that cake is the most important thing. So that can be months of preparation in readying a girl and her family for marking that really important rite for her. The other thing is I've just in the process of publishing a book. So my book From Daughter to Woman, Parenting Our Girls Safely Through Their Teens, that should be out and available in the summer of next year.
Thanks so much for mentioning the book, and I want to come back to it. But before we talk about the book, Kim, what inspired you to start this beautiful initiative? Why this work? Why is it so important?
Yeah, this has been a passion for me since really before I became an adult myself. The very first job I had was to offer counselling to distressed teenagers. And I was barely not a teenager myself. And I would sit listening to them, and I could see how much I was helping them. I was listening as they told me about how they were starving themselves, or were having sex over and over again when they didn't want to, or were self-harming in some way or another. And I promised myself I wanted to find a way that that we could reach girls before they ran into those sorts of problems, because although I was helping them, it was taking months, and I could see that already the self-harming or the destructive behavior patterns were quite entrenched, and it was hard for them to change that. So I, long ago, 30 years ago, made a promise to myself that I would find a way of supporting girls that was more preventative, so that they wouldn't end up hurting themselves in one of the many, many ways that girls can. And actually, really, it's quite timely now, because if I thought it was hard for girls back then, it's really hard for them now. And sadly, the statistics that are coming out about teenage girls' mental health shows us that actually they are struggling more now than they ever have done, and running into more mental health problems. And so girls journeying together can be a way of strengthening a girl, empowering her so that she can withstand, so she has increased resilience for handling what it takes to grow up in this culture, what it takes to become a strong, independent, sure woman, young woman.
You have a varied background, Kim, and it's quite interesting. You studied child psychology at Cambridge. You practice as a counselor to distressed teenagers, taught sex education in schools and to youth. You worked as an assertiveness trainer. You've been a shamanic dance instructor, and you've also been a business consultant.
Yeah.
How and why does that diverse background come together for Rights for Girls?
Well, I think although I work with girls now, actually what people need, whether they be girl, boy, man, woman, is often very similar. So I remember when I used to go into big corporations and work with besuited businessmen, and I was still in my 20s at that time. Actually, what they needed as people was very similar to what the women returners to work needed, that I was also working with, and the distressed teenagers needed, that I was also working with, which is basically to find what their sole purpose was, how to live in a congruent way, how to live in a way that meant that they were happy in themselves, doing what they wanted to do within the confines of whatever constraints they found themselves under. But I suppose at the heart of it, I've always had a real affinity for teenage girls. Well, for the teenage stage in life, I think it's very exciting. I think children at that age are very open actually. And what gets laid down at that point has an enormous effect on how the rest of their adult lives unfold. So it just felt like it would be a really good time to focus my energies, because it would be a very effective way of sending some great women out into the world.
Tell us about your book, Kim. From daughter to woman, parenting girls safely through their teens.
Yes, well, I suppose over the years of running Girls Journeying Together groups, mothers often come to me and say, is there something I can read? Is there something written for me as a mother of a girl, as a mother of a preteen girl? I can see what lies ahead. I'm a bit nervous about what lies ahead. I don't want her to run into some of the difficulties that I can see many, many girls have. What can I read? And there are some good books out there, but I was a bit stuck for something for that in particular, for mothers of daughters as they were entering into puberty. And so I would write articles and share those. And then I guess people just said to me, please, can you write this all down? And actually, I have really enjoyed writing the book. I had no idea it would be so much work. But I'm really pleased with how it's come out.
How can people reach out to you if they wanted to? But specifically the book, is the book available on Amazon? Do they need to go through a website?
The best way to reach out to me and to buy the book is via our website, which is www.rightsforgirls.com. And rights is spelled RITE. And there's a tab there for the book, so you can order the book that way. But it is also available for pre-order on Amazon. It comes out on the 18th of July, 2018. I can't wait. I've already written it. I don't know why it takes so long.
So you mentioned the website, Rights for Girls, RITES. forgirls.com. What about an email address, Kim? If people wanted to reach out to you directly, can they do so by email?
Yes, they can. So the email address is info at rightsforgirls.com.
Okay, very good. Kim, we'll make sure that both the email address and the website address are in the scrolling credits at the end. I want to thank you so much for sharing your healing work with us. It was a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you, Kim.
It's been lovely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.